Family Watch His Word. Judges chapter 20 shows us what happens when sin is allowed to spread through a nation without true covenant faithfulness before God. We see in the text that a horrifying wickedness happens in Gibeah, and Israel gathers together against the tribe of Benjamin. And at first it sounds like a righteous judgment. But the deeper tragedy that we see in the text is that Israel was already spiritually broken. The book of Judges repeatedly says that everyone did what was right in their own eyes. That means that the issue was bigger than one city. See, the whole nation had drifted from faithful obedience to God. So while Israel was angry at the wickedness in Gibeah, the deeper sickness was still living in the nation. And the text is showing us something very important. People can hate visible evil while still refusing full surrender to God. And we see in the text that this chapter becomes something like a civil war. Brother against brother, tribe against tribe. And this is what sin does when it's not dealt with God's way. See, the text is showing us that sin never stays isolated. A common misconception in our generation today is that sin stays small. That I can commit a small sin and it won't grow into something else eventually. But we see in the text that sin spreads destruction through families, communities, and nations. And yes, Israel does seek the Lord repeatedly in this chapter. They ask who should go up first. They weep, they offer sacrifices, and they seek the Lord. But that makes the text even heavier, because it shows us that outward religious activity does not erase the damage of long-term rebellion and spiritual compromise. See, the book of Judges shows a nation trapped in the repeated cycles of sin. We see in the text that they are oppressed, they offer temporary repentance, and then they start drifting again. So this chapter is not presenting Israel as spiritually healthy, as if they're one people fixing an isolated problem. It is showing us the devastating effects of a nation who slowly drifted away from God's rule. See, a society without the fear of God eventually would tear itself apart. See, being emotional about evil is not the same as being holy. It's not enough to just feel like something is wrong. What are you going to do? How are you going to respond? Real righteousness is not just exposing darkness in others. It is allowing God to deal with the darkness in us too. And we see in the text that this chapter ends with devastation everywhere. Because when people reject God as king, destruction follows even when they believe that they are fighting for justice. See, sometimes what we think is right is not right. Sometimes our view of righteousness is flawed. And that's why we must look to Christ in all that we do. Never do anything on our own. Some of the worst decisions happen when we run from prayer.